today. Got a little bit of time, so I thought I'd do a quick video because there seems to be a lot of people with YouTubeitis and they're getting a bit lost with the technology, with so much technology being around. Don't get me wrong, I think technology is great, but sometimes it's best to understand how you get the data rather than getting confused by the data. So I think it's probably a good time to just go back to simple basics that might help a few people out and understand by doing the simple basics, that's how you affect the data that you're reading. So probably the first thing most people get wrong, or the wrong concept they've got, is this golf club, the face or the leading edge doesn't actually move that much. So what most people think is, as you address the ball, so if this is 6 o'clock and I'm addressing the ball, the face is basically pointing at the target, and as I swing back, this golf club or face seems to go through a massive area, 180 to 240 degrees, something like that. The fact is, it doesn't do that. Basically, all you do in the golf swing, if you don't pivot your body, is that club would be at 6 o'clock. All you're doing, the movements you're doing, without the pivot, just the arms, is this arm, the elbow is going to fold, the right elbow folds. If I fold that naturally, it comes up towards my right shoulder. If I hold the club and do that, three things are happening. As I fold back, my left forearm is rotating, my left wrist is cocking, and the back of my right wrist bends. And as I straighten it, the left forearm rotates back, the left wrist uncocks, and the right hand eventually comes back to a neutral position. So if I go to the top here and stop and then bring it down, it started at 6, I cock the wrist, bring it down, it's only at 7 o'clock. It's a 5-minute gap, or 30 degrees. Okay, so when you're playing golf, you're doing all these movements, but you start here, that's 6 o'clock, and by the time you return, it's now at 7 o'clock with your forearm, and the face is at 6 o'clock. So basically all that's changed is when I address that, if I put an alignment rod through my forearm, if the ball's at 6, the alignment rod's pointing, forearm pointing at 7 o'clock, I've gone back, come down, and by the time I get to impact, the forearm is now pointing at 5 o'clock when the club face is at 6 o'clock. So you basically, if you want a solid shot, you only need to move it that much. So you're making a backswing to create a 5-minute gap, or put you into impact hands, and you're going to pivot the body back to get you an impact body matching impact hands to hit the ball well. All you're doing when you release the club, forget about all this toes up and everything else going through. A release of the golf club is this elbow folding and this elbow straightening. That's a release. So if I get to the top of my swing, if I don't use my body or pivot, all I'm going to do is straighten this arm. I'm straightening the arm but keeping the bend in the right wrist. As I straighten that arm, the left wrist uncocks. It's cocked, it uncocks. That's releasing the golf club. How that gets square is how you pivot your body. But the first thing you need to get to control that face is get a good grip, so your left hand is the face, the right hand is the club head, and all you're then doing is basically folding this arm as it goes back, straightening it and coming down. When you do that, you don't have to worry about rotating the arms and cocking the wrist. As I address this, my wristwatch is going at the target. As I fold my arm, the wristwatch has now changed to about a 40-degree angle. As I straighten my arm, it comes back to where it was to target, and then it will probably point 40 degrees or so down into the ground. What's happened, that's rotated, sure, but I haven't deliberately rotated it, because if I do that, this club is moving through a big area, that's hard to control, and you won't get good contact or a good impact. So in simple terms, all you're doing with a golf swing is, can you stand here with a triangle, your arms and the shoulder, and can you lose the triangle by pivoting your body and folding the arm, pivoting the body and straightening the arm, so it catches up at 5 o'clock, so it's a little bit more better impact than it was at address, catches up at 5 and then carry on through. And you're just trying to move your body and the arms at the same RPM. Once you can do that, get a golf club. Now it's the same thing, but you've now got a Y with the club in your arms. You lose the Y back, you pivot, straighten the arm again, a bit more flex to impact than it was at address. Catches up at 5 o'clock, arms fold back and the body goes through. And if you do that at the same RPMs, you're going to have much ball shape on it. It's going to be a fairly straightforward shape without too much curvature. The curvature comes by people throwing the club at the ball, which stops the body because your brush is going this way. Now it's coming in, the Y's catching up way too early, it's fat, thin or going left. Equally, if you pull too hard, club's not going to catch up till 3 o'clock, and you're going to be on the right hand side of the golf course if you're on the course. So that's how your body works. So now the pivot. Pivot's fairly straightforward. The best explanation I've seen of this, or a little demonstration for Phil, I'm going to do it for a guy called Mike Austin, who unfortunately is no longer with us. But basically, get a piece of rope and put a hook in the ground, get the hook outside your left shoulder, and all you're doing is pull in the rope back with the right hand, then pulling it through with the left. Pull it back with the trail side, pull it through with the lead side, and you're actually just creating a pulley system. Now it's important it's outside the left shoulder, because if you have it in the middle of your body, you'll fall forward and you'll rock back. So just outside the left side, pull back with the trail side, pull through with the lee side. And that's basically just pivoting your body. Fairly straightforward, but most people don't get that. They're trying to turn and do all sorts of things. Now what you're trying to do when you do that, to control the angle or the club in balance or plane or whatever words you want to use, what's vogue and not vogue, is basically the angle is controlled by how the shoulder works down when you pull the rope. So what you're looking for at the top of the swing, I've got a spine angle, and I want at right angles to that, more or less my shoulders, my hips and my knees. So if my left shoulder works down behind the ball, the club will come up into that slot there and I'll have that. If I work my shoulder too level with the ground, what it's going to do is take my arms behind me, or flat, whatever terminology you want to use. So all you're looking to do there is just work that down. Now rather than going to a complicated way of explaining that you tilt your shoulders, you turn your body and you extend your body, what I tend to do with my lessons is basically get them to set up, put the shaft across their shoulder and angle down just behind the ball, and ask them to follow that with the shoulder. The shoulder will go down and leave it, and then you return and go through. So basically in golf, to control it, you're pivoting your body and folding that right arm, or losing the triangle or the Y, and then you're pivoting your body back, so you meet the ball and collect the Y at about 5 o'clock on the way through. Carry on moving through with the body pivoting and the arms folding. And if you do that at the same RPMs, then you're going to hit a pretty good ball without too much curve on it. If you don't do that, the same RPMs, i.e. the club goes past you, or you lead with your hands, then you've got deviated ball flight, not a very good game of golf. So in simple terms, that's what you're doing. Now another way of explaining the pivot is, if you imagine I'm a marionette, and this is the control, so I've got a string coming down onto my left shoulder, string coming down onto my right. All that's happening is my left side more or less collapses down, and my right side extends back. You can see that's going at a slight angle as I do that, and then all you're doing is coming back down and through, and then out. So basically left side collapses down, comes back and goes through. We could go through the ankle flex and bending, bringing the knee in, turning the hips and shoulders round, but let's try and keep it simple at the moment. So it's just a simple marionette, a pivot, collapse the left side here, return it to level on a diagonal angle so it returns to level, and then go through. And that's pivoting the body. Your power comes from the angles you create in the backswing, which again is why you want this right elbow folded and straightening. And if you pivot and fold properly, you're going to return with that elbow a little bit more flex than it was. The left bridge is starting to uncock, the left forearm is rotating. They're going to join together at about 5 o'clock and then carry on through. The other way you get power, and why the setup's important, I've got another video, not this one, is I'm standing up here, I'm bone, I'm nervous system, I'm muscle, and I'm fluid, and I've got skin wrapped around it. Now between the skin and the bone, the muscle, is a thing called fascia, which is like a lubricated netting. The myofascia, probably the best thing to do is look up Tom Myers or myofascia and you'll get some information on that. But the best way I can explain that is, if you imagine I've got an elastic exercise band, if I tie that round here in a stirrup, bring it up through my body, wrap it round and come up into my shoulder here, when you pivot the body properly, what you're doing is stretching that cord. You're then compressing as you go here and putting it into the left hand side now, and then it folds the other way. So that will give you a spring effect and send it out. It's why kangaroos can jump so high. They've done tests on kangaroos' muscles. They shouldn't be able to do what they do, but the fascia helps them to do it, just as a cheetah going fast. So basically, if you've got yourself set, you're setting pressure across your body and your feet, and then transferring that into the ball. You don't need to get into what the club heads do in here with alpha, beta, gamma, etc. Leave that to the scientists or the pros that want to get into that and pretend to be scientists and physicists. We'll leave that to them. Basically, if you do these movements, you're putting those tensions across the shaft through the midpoint in your hands. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah, you can get readings, but if you do this properly, you'll be doing that how it should be. Equally, with your pressure across your feet, if you pivot properly, you'll see that. Understand these movements and get a good setup, and that'll work for you. If it's not, it's generally because you set up incorrectly. So basically, the golf swing, unfortunately, is that simple. You get a good setup. You basically pivot your body and fold your arm as you go back. You pivot your body, straightening your arm as you come through. It's a little bit more flex to impact. Everything joins up at 5 o'clock and the wrist is now uncocked, the arms rolled, and then you just carry on unwinding through with the body and the arms, and just do that at the same RPM. And unfortunately, golf is that simple.